Exactly 4 weeks from Election Day now. It is an election the Republicans say they're looking forward to, and many Democrats say, maybe they're going to dread this one a bit. Here to talk about his expectations, maybe your expectations for this election and beyond, Bill Maher, who is with us all week. Bill, one of the fascinating dynamics is listening to the Obama White House, the president, the vice president, and others, trying to tell the liberal base of the party, look, we know you're mad at us about, maybe it's Afghanistan, maybe it's about health care, maybe it's about Gitmo, but we need you in November. I want you to listen to this appeal from the vice president saying, please vote.
Don't compare me to the almighty. Compare me to the alternative. Don't compare me to the almighty. Compare me to the alternative. This is not your grandfather's Republican Party. This is the Republican Tea Party. This is the party of repeal and repeat. This is the party who said, trust those big guys, they'll take care of you. They'll have your back on Wall Street.
Is that a good turnout message? I know you're mad at us about some things, but those guys are way worse.
Well, yeah, it's at least an attempt. You know, up until a couple of weeks ago, I didn't hear a peep about the Democrats. Brag about what you've done. They actually have a rather impressive record of accomplishment to run on, unlike many other Democratic administrations in the past. I mean, they probably stopped a depression, just that, if they had just done that alone. But they never seem to have the guts to make the counter argument. They just throw their hands up when it's apparently too difficult to explain to people. And I understand it's very hard to get information into people's heads. But TARP, take that for an example. I mean, that's what the teabaggers and a lot of Americans are so angry about, that we bailed out the banks and it cost all this money. Well, make the counter argument. Tell them it cost us somewhere between $50 billion, which the Pentagon loses in the couch every day, and making a profit. We actually could make a profit on it. And the stock market was like at 6,000 when Obama took over. It's now approaching 1,100. I mean, if you don't like unemployment at what it is now, a little under 10%, without that and the banks failing, it could have been 16 or 18%. And jobs, they're always talking about jobs. That probably saved millions of jobs. So there's lots of things they could brag about. I read the other day in Rolling Stone, Obama said that he listens to rappers like Nas and Lil Wayne. Well, maybe some of that should rub off, because they're always bragging. They should teach him how to do it.
He is not as animated as them, without a doubt. But what is one of the interesting dynamics, and I want to get to the fractures on the right in a minute, but there has been an ongoing debate, and you have it on your show just about every week, where you have liberals come on saying, we're not happy about this, they haven't done enough about that. And what we're seeing in the final weeks of the campaign, though, is the liberals getting mad that the administration is essentially calling them out, saying it would be irresponsible, the president's word, for them not to vote. I want you to listen to Amy Goodman of the Democracy Now! Program, a leading progressive, saying, you know, we're fighting, but the other guys seem to, shall we say, mute their differences.
It's interesting. You don't have the conservatives going after the Tea Party movement. You don't have them saying they're whining. People see all of this. And yet you have the White House attacking progressives all over this country, calling them the professional left, calling them the whiners, saying buck up. I think it's progressives who are saying to the president, why don't you buck up? Why don't you stand up for what you said you would represent?
You went through what you say is a pretty impressive record, but when you go through it with people like Amy Goodman, they say, no, I'm sorry, Gitmo's still open. We're sending more troops to Afghanistan. Why didn't he fight for a public option in health care? And they have a list. You have a list, but they say they have a pretty good list, too.
Yeah, look, John, I was the first guy in the media to say Obama wasn't living up to what we thought he was going to be. It is our job, especially as people in the media on the left, to hold his feet to the fire. But when it comes time to vote, then you have to, as I think I mentioned on our show Friday night, grow up and realize there's a big difference between a disappointing friend and a deadly enemy. Yes, there are lots of ways it's been disappointing, mostly because he's working with Republican obstructionists and in an era in which almost nothing can get done in Washington. So yes, we should keep holding his feet to the fire, but when it comes to voting and you only have two choices, that's the time to rally around the better choice. There's not a perfect choice, but there is a better choice. And who's going to suffer if they don't show up at the polls? Not Obama. He doesn't need an abortion. But, you know, if they don't show up in 2012 when he runs again and it's a Republican president and he starts appointing people to the Supreme Court who don't feel that way, as a lot of progressives do, that should be a right that women have, you know, who's going to pay for it?